Good afternoon and welcome to Croxdale Road, Boreham Wood, where today the home team Haberdashers, formerly old Haberdashers, take on Thurrock and London Division 1 North. Thurrock have their usual changes this week. Dan Stone returns to fly half. Harry Reynolds retained his place on the wing after a great game last week. Apologies for the language, but we are quite close to the touchline here. So Thurrock are going to kick off today. Dan Stone with the ball in his hand.
Yeah, shot Tom!
Dan Stone has fired that one. Straight in the hands of the captain.
Hello, Mike.
It's a long high ball, as well taken by Niall Clifford, very dependable at fullback. And Thurrock win the first penalty.
Doctor?
It's a good start from Thurrock, great take by Niall Clifford. Dan Stone has found a useful touch. Ryan Wilkins with the first throw. It's gone to Jay Jennings at the front. No Dritan Loka, Albanian second row this week. Ben Timpson, his usual role of driving hard into the opposition defence. The ball has gone forward. And the head of the first scrum goes to Haberdashers. Haberdashers, of course, a very famous old club, playing on a famous old ground at Croxdale Road.
The ex-chairman of Ford Britain used to go to that school. I want to join him.
I've just been told the ex-chairman of Ford Britain used to go to the school. Of course, there are many famous old players went to Haberdasher School. Probably the most famous is Keith Jarrett, who as a schoolboy played for Abertillery and then brought to the club by Ron Jones before moving to Newport before winning that wonderful game against England. It's a good first scrum for Haberdashers. They have Ian Anderson, the front row hooker, Al Baxter and Andrew Sanderson. It's a good start from them. Charlie Johnson is at full-back, Adam Dye on the right wing, Johnny Whittle on the left wing, Joey Gators and Simon Miller in the centre. Dr. Rob Bamberger is at 10. George Clayton at scrum half. George Clayton, like Keith Jarrett, was at Monmouth School, which is a Haberdasher school, where the housemaster was one of the great wingers of Welsh and British rugby, John Bevan, former student of Cardiff College. James Clark, the captain, is at number 8, Ben Lowry at 7, and Johnny Gators, who's the older brother of Joey Gators, is number 6. Cian O'Riordan is in the second row with Tom Arnott, who is a fake Scotsman, I believe is a Scotsman. And on the bench, Antoine Cornet, who is French, Tom Brogdon and Tom Jackson. So, with the prevailing wind blowing down the pitch, Haberdashers have taken a very strong position in Thurrock 22. It's a good line out. It's hit Cian O'Riordan. It's set up the driving wall. Haberdashers don't have a coach. Most of them live a long way away from Croxdale Road, and they depend upon themselves for their own fitness, so they don't actually do any team training. They tend to be quite loose as a team, but they thoroughly enjoy their rugby and they're great tourists. When they came down to Thurrock earlier on in the season, they did prevail with some outstanding work, especially in the centre and especially in the front row. So a plethora of early possession for Haberdashers. And Haberdashers have managed to open the scoring with a try in the corner. Looks like right winger Adam Dye. Anthony Catchpole back on the bench for Thurrock this week with the Lonus Butramus. Tom Saunders getting his first round as well. And that's blasted across the face of the post by Dr. Rob Bamberger.
Not a fan of this. People call themselves doctor. It just smacks of vanity, if you ask me, Ralph.
Says Dr. Anthony Pease.
Oh, yeah.
I was a doctor. I failed. So it's Haberdashers 5, Thurrock 0. I must stress there's a tremendously strong wind here. Once you're stuck in your 22, it's very hard to get out. Thurrock have kicked off and they've got in front of the ball, which is unfortunate. The wind was pulling the ball back to Thurrock. The Haberdashers, of course, a famous old club and associated with needlecraft, sewing, zips, and of course they were merchants in the 17th century. Since those days, of course, cultures and values have changed considerably, thank goodness. And this club represents some of the fine virtues of rugby football. Good afternoon, Mr. Graham Morris, formerly Thurrock number 8. Was 6'4", now 5'4". Certainly Haberdashers have got momentum today, albeit because of the very strong wind and the slope. Graham Morris once tackled Richard Todman, the former England number 8, when Thurrock played Harlequins. He's never been the same.
And Mr. Sheriff.
And of course George Sheriff, the Saracens in England number 8. He tackled him as well once. He did score twice. He scored 4 tries before he tackled him, of course, and he was over the line. Good travelling support for Thurrock today. Let's hope they can put on a performance.
I took exception to the fact he patted me on the head and said, "Well done."
Haberdashers come back for the penalty, giving Dr. Rob Bamberger, I beg his pardon, an opportunity to kick for goal. So we go back to the halfway line to a penalty. There's quite a long advantage. That's the referee's prerogative. So Bamberger to kick for touch, sporting the yellow boots. Quite easy to kick to touch with that wind, that opportunity. Adam Dye, the right winger, congratulating him. John Bevan, the great British Lions and Wales winger, was a housemaster at Haberdashers School, Monmouth. And just a few miles away, Westmon was an offshoot of the Monmouth School, And in that great school, Graham Price, the Welsh prop, and Terry Cobner, future Welsh captain, were students. This time, Charlie Russo, the captain, seizes the ball at the back of the line-out. Dan Stone in position, does well to find touch against the wind. And the ball has gone into the former stand, which is now a bramble bush. So it's difficult to escape from your 22 in these conditions. A very exposed field. Let's come to the middle of Tom Arnott. Good drive set up. Difficult ball, very well taken by Ian Anderson. A good tackle by Thurrock. A lot of inside passing in these conditions. Looks like another penalty coming Haberdashers' way. The free ball for a moment, but Thurrock were able to withstand the attack. Welcome to our viewers this afternoon, all over the country, all over the world. In Singapore we have Paul Stevens, in the Cayman Islands we have Mercedes, we have the Henderson family in Wales, we have Bob Williams, Brian Davis, et al. They're all looking forward to the Six Nations starting next week. More of that at half-time. Welcome to John Langley in Tewkesbury. It was good to catch up with him in Wales last week. Conditions here, I must add, are very difficult today. Very strong wind, the end of the storm, of course. And good luck to all those people in the north of the country who are struggling. Lots of trees have come down. The road's been blocked. Of course, in Boston, the USA, they're predicting 24 inches of snow the week ahead. We hope we don't get those conditions here. And Roger White has just arrived, a bit late for the start, and Thurrock are 5-0 down. He was here at the start.
I came to tell you that I watched last week's game from Singapore Airport.
Roger White watched last week at Singapore Airport along with 1,000 other viewers. We're up to 1,000 viewers now.
I did text.
And he's distracted the commentator, and the commentator has missed the score. Can't quite see the scorer. We need a wide-angle lens. It looks as if Johnny Whittle was involved. So Haberdashers taking full advantage of the fact that Thurrock had some players offside the kickoff. They were then able to dominate proceedings for the next 5 minutes, and eventually a score became inevitable. Once again, the conversion is missed by Bamberger. It's Haberdashers 10, Thurrock 0. This time they make absolutely certain they're behind the ball. But it has cost them 5 points. Anderson takes that well, feeds in the middle of the field. Caelan Watts-Adams attempts to rip the ball. And once again, it's a penalty to Haberdashers, which will lead to more pressure. So a lot of these early decisions gone against Thurrock, which is not the right thing to do, because Bamberger has smashed that deep into Thurrock half. Frank Wright trots reluctantly backwards. So the error is costing Thurrock dearly in the early part of this game. The problem being when a referee sees a picture, he sometimes goes along with the momentum of the team. So a simple throw to the front for Haberdashers. Watts Adams is trying to grapple with the opposition to break that down. But it has been pulled down illegally, and yet another penalty to Haberdashers. Good tackle by Henry Bird on Simon Milner in the middle of the field. Haberdashers still have the opportunity with a free ball. Now Clifford is quite uncompromising in the tackle, but the referee's gone back to an early infringement.
Give us a break.
The referee is dominating proceedings at the moment, much to Thurrock's chagrin. Some of the visiting spectators suggest that was quite a harsh decision. But a word of warning to Captain Charlie Russo. And Haberdashers have taken the scrum. James Clark, the captain, calling the shots. Started a bright afternoon on arrival at Croxdale Road, but now it's turned into a very cold, windy day.
Thurrock props have
As the
changed
storm
sides
moves
there.
further south. George Clayton, the Monmouth boys, put the ball in. That's a very good drive. Clark very much in control of the back. He has picked up. Thurrock managed to repel that attack.
Thurrock driving much straighter there at the scrum, which is the first scrum so
Good
far this
tackle
game
from
without
Watts
penalty.
Adams. Tom Wildman looking interested. This time Haberdashers have lost the ball forward. Good afternoon to Mike Fenton in Stoke Poges, Phil Lewis in Australia, Adelaide. And good afternoon to Dave Sardar on the cameras. Dr. Anthony Pease will be doing the half-time summary.
Bonjour.
Get into it.
Dave Stevens, the Thurrock forwards coach behind the line, not wearing a tracksuit. Would be advised to, it's very cold today. Henry Bird has picked that up in the middle of the field. First chance for him to get moving. Alex Jones passes back to Dan Stone, who in the event finds a very good touch. That's a good exit from Thurrock.
5 man, 5 man. Watch my man again. No way.
Good afternoon, Clive.
Go on, you Thurrock boys. Big part.
A lot of people have travelled all the way up to Boreham Wood for this game. Jay Jennings strives valiantly to win that line ball, just fails. Ball has come in the middle of the field, but there has been a forward pass.
Go on, you Thurrock boys.
I was up the far end from my forward pass over there. Referee's job to be there to second.
Tight head Frank Wright learning his trade. He's done exceptionally well this season for Thurrock. And Ryan Wilkins back for his second game. Tom Wildman on the loose head. Jay Jennings and Caelan Watts Adams form a very young, youthful second row. Lewis Cross has come into the back row with Ben Timpson and Charlie Russo. This time the drive is so fierce that Clark has picked up in the back. Johnny Whittle speeding down the wing. Once again, there's a free ball. Ball's dropped in the middle of the field, and so the referee will go back to a penalty.
Nine.
Ryan Wilkins there with the classic textbook. Sorry I hit you late and high. Wonderful work. And without the ball.
And this time, Thurrock have been given a yellow card. It's number 8, Ben Timpson, who's forced to leave the field.
To be fair, I don't.
So Thurrock already going back to rate of knots in the scrum will find it even more difficult if there's another error.
Who's the commentator? The guy from the night.
This is not the start that Thurrock wanted.
Just a bit worried about the biased commentary.
No biased commentary at all. Perfectly unbiased. Haberdasher is fully in control.
I would like it to be known that I am also not in any way biased about the fortunes of the bad guys.
So we have a driving maul. It's a dummy from the scrum half. George Clayton, former Monmouth schoolboy. I keep repeating myself. And so Haberdashers scored the third try without return from Thurrock.
What is a haberdasher?
A haberdasher is somebody who was a merchant who was very interested in things like sewing needles, buttons.
What is a haberdasher?
Sewing needles, buttons, and
Yes.
You were talking about the
haberdashery.
others, Ralph. You should have mentioned zips.
Oh, yeah.
No, zips are modern, newfangled.
You mentioned all the things haberdashers sold in the 1700s. You said zips.
And
Very
Velcro.
true. They invented zips. Invented by Henry Zip. Henry Fastener.
Brother George Velcro.
Henry
It was
Fastener.
Professor Gunther von Velcro, actually, Graham. Professor Gunther von Velcro.
It's a rip-off, whatever it is.
I like it.
So was that conversion successful? I'm sorry, I've been interrupted by spectators. Was the conversion successful?
Hang in there, Thurrock. CB. That's conversion.
It looks as if Tom Wildman has got an injury and Anthony Catchpole has gone on. So it's Haberdashers 17, Thurrock 0. So Ben Timpson off the field, but Thurrock have managed to win a bit of possession for the first time. Niall Clifford comes into the line. He always looks menacing, that man. The Haberdashers have turned over. It looks like Ian Anderson. Gives Bamberger a chance, but this time Charlie Russo's charged the ball down. Caelan Watts-Adams in hard in the tackle. Clayton looking for the box kick, but suddenly gets the call from Bamberger to move the ball wide. It looks as if Anthony Catchpole has come onto the field as a tactical change for the time being. I wonder whether we'll see Henry Bird going to the scrums when we have a defensive scrum. Alex Jones moved back to his usual position of scrum half this week. Kai Holloway in the centre with Henry Bird. Callum Pluck has come on the wing. Just 23 minutes gone, and already the score is 17-0 to Haberdashers, but this is probably a 20-point win at least. It's certainly proving difficult for Thurrock to get out of their own half, especially when they're making so many errors.
That's the problem with playing territory rugby, though. It comes misfiring, and then you have all the territory you want. It's going to be hard to capitalise on it.
So catch balls come onto the field, but it's still a problem and it's still a penalty.
Whatever you do what you want.
Good morning, Ralph. Coach, good morning. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, we don't.
Thurrock had managed to reduce some of their scrummaging problems last week in Shelford, so it's a pity that they've taken a pummeling this stage today. Of course, it doesn't help being reduced to 7 in the scrum. Anthony Catchpole has come back from injury onto the loose head.
One is sideways.
It's a terrific kick from Bamberger.
Yeah, no, it sounded like a great pair.
They are so much better.
An anxious looking Ben Timpson pacing up and down the touchline, keen to get back into the action. Another dangerous moment for Thurrock, but the throw isn't straight. Thurrock unable to capitalise, but they will have a scrum, which isn't really much of an advantage.
Taking a line out that long in this win seems a very, very strange. Well, unless they're trying for a scrum.
So Henry Bird has joined the scrummage. A little bit of a nightmare scenario when you reduce 7 players and your scrum is already going backwards. Henry Bird trying to buttress the scrum. It does mean there are gaps on the other side of the field. It's all about getting the timing. The timing wasn't quite right. And because of the delay, Haberdashers have been given a free kick. No doubt they will go back to scrummage again. Haberdashers have been completely dominant throughout the early part of this game and deserve their 17-0 lead. Thurrock will be hoping to keep it to a minimum. Disdainful looking Ryan Wilkins at that scrum, under a huge amount of pressure as the power comes through.
Lucid, go! Sing! Fine!
The referee has no choice but to give another penalty. And the only saving grace is that was not a penalty try.
I'll argue with that.
Yeah, come on. 10 yeah.
Alright, we're up to 15 now, Ben Simpson.
So James Clark, the captain, has scored that try. It's Haberdashers 22, Thurrock 0 with the conversion to come. Bamberger with the conversion. Very difficult kicking conditions, and that one is pulled well wide.
Come on, Thurrock!
What's up, boys?
Come on, boys, ain't that? Come on, please!
Your turn will come.
Keep going, boys, come on! Come on!
Hang in there, boys. Front up. Knock them down. Get in amongst them.
Gone straight to Clark, the captain, who was ostensibly a decent kickoff. It's gone to the middle of the field, that box kick. Then Simpson's returned the field, he's taken that ball. It's been ripped away though. This time Thurrock hold firm in the middle of the field. Some cynical cheering from the away supporters at that penalty.
Not bad, 15.
Dan Stone has a chance to put Thurrock into an attacking position for the first time in the match. Anthony, is there any particular reason why the scrummage has disintegrated a little again this week? Obviously the lack of a number 8 didn't help for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I kind of feel for the front row. It's not a position unless you're enormously uniquely gifted that you can pick up at this stage of your life, and they are quite young, and yeah, and don't have the ability on the pitch to correct things when they're going a bit wrong. So yeah, it's just I think inexperience and positioning and everything else.
So the first attacking move from Thurrock, Harry Reynolds, who performed exceptionally well last week, is just pushed into touch. But at least Thurrock have started to get into the game. That's even better because Jay Jennings has won that ball against the throw. Very athletic, that young man. He won a few balls last week. This time the ball has been knocked on. I think there were 2 knock-ons. The referee did play advantage. He went back to the first knock-on.
Got to go straight in, straight out.
Fundamentally, it almost needs a channel 1 ball, the old terms.
Probably saying that is you need the hooker to have one foot off the floor and it's under pressure. That's really, really hard to do.
Ready, 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 and down!
But it has come out very quickly and given Ben Timpson a chance to pick up. Feeds Dan Stone. It's a loop from Dan Stone. It feeds now Clifford.
No, hands!
It looked like a no-hands tackle as a penalty come to Thurrock. They prefer the advantage. Come down the blind side, but the ball's been ripped away. And Thurrock have the second penalty.
Better front five. Better right.
Good loop around from fly half Dan Stone. Now Clifford's well tackled, but another bit of illegal play and gives Dan Stone a chance to push the ball even further in the corner. He handles a very difficult situation extremely well, with a fine kick into the teeth of the wind. Very exposed conditions here at Croxdale Road. Fortunately, they have a very nice, warm, open fire in the clubhouse, which we can all sit around after the game and have a pint of water. So Jay Jennings the front to accept their own driving wall. This time Timpson and Russo break off in tandem. Thurrock a few yards out. They desperately need to score. A great ball taken well by Jay Jennings. And somehow Haberdashers have managed to pull the ball back out. And they found a touch just beyond the 10-metre line. Tom Saunders running the touchline. You can see the strength of the wind on the far side. It did look as if the ball being touched in flight. Jay Jennings is dominant in that part of the line out. Ben Timpson in the middle of the field. There's only one way he's going. Dan Stone looking for the break. The ball is knocked down, and that could well have been deliberate. The referee suggests it was unintentional and gives Thurrock the dubious advantage of a scrum.
Yellow card.
The away crowd suggesting that should have been a penalty. I would tend to concur, but I'm trying to be unbiased. The ball is coming out very quickly, which probably would suit Thurrock if I stood away. Ben Timpson does marvellously to pick that up, going back to a rate of knots, but Thurrock have in possession. Once again, there's a penalty. It's a succession of penalties to Thurrock.
Really good adaptation though from Ryan Wilkins at the hooker, just getting the ball straight out as soon as he can. I think it's the only thing that we can do at that at the scrum.
He's in the way, get him out of it! Good ball.
Callum Pluck on the right wing today, Harry Reynolds on the left. And that's the third consecutive penalty to Thurrock, and the referee must be thinking about a card, one would suggest. So Captain James Clark has been told by the referee that that is a formal warning. That's an excellent kick from Dan Stone. And ironically, the wind seems to have died down a little. Ryan Wilkins, the hooker, going for a very quick strike, as Anthony P suggested. And the ball is shooting out the scrum so quickly, it needs the skills of Ben Timpson to pick it up and control the ball. Wilkins to throw in. This time it goes the back to Caelan Watts-Adams. It's a great throw and a great take. Alex Jones has thrown a dummy. And that's a tremendous try by Alex Jones. The whole of the Haberdasher defence spread across the field. Jones saw the opportunity, threw the long dummy and shot over for a classic scrum half's try. much in the Mike Phillips mould. Well, of course, Alex Jones isn't. He's more in the Dwayne Peel mode. I shouldn't say that. His father is Welsh. I should say in the Danny Kerr mould.
I would have chosen a dyed-in-the-wool Englishman like Dewi Morris.
From Crickhowell, I was there on Wednesday with another dyed-in-the-wool Englishman, John Langley. So it's Haberdashers 22. It's the first strike for Thurrock. Thurrock 5. And this week the kicking duty has been handed back to Dan Stone. And the referee has got in the way of his routine 5-step run back or walk back.
Good work, Ryan.
And Stone has kicked that one on a stroke of half time to give Thurrock some hope. So an Alex Jones try. Haberdashers 22, Thurrock 7. They do have the advantage of a slope and a very strong wind, very cold wind, in the second half. It's been a very interesting half. Thurrock struggled with the scrummage for long periods. Being reduced to 7 men, the scrum didn't help, and Ben Timpson was sent to the bin. The cornucopia of penalties in favour of the home team also added to Thurrock's problems. Nevertheless, they fought back extremely well to get the last score of the half, and now they have an opportunity to go downhill with the wind to make a real game of this. So next week we go into the Six Nations Championship, and we're all looking forward to that. In the height of winter, Wales play Ireland. They travel to Dublin. Of course, the Calcutta Cup match between England and Scotland will be one to look forward to, and France entertain Italy at the Stade de France. Now, lots of people are very interested in the Six Nations, and we would like a few opportunities of deciding who will actually win the championship this year. I'm sure Ray Davis will be putting a little bet or wager on Wales to win the Grand Slam. Graham Morris has just ruined my water for half time by putting a French worm. I think he suspects that France are the favourites for the Six Nations Championship. And of course, with Antoine Dupont and Roman Ntamak, they have wonderful halfbacks. England will fancy their chances. Some new young comers in the team, like Alfie Barbary and Marcus Smith, of course. Whereas Ireland will be very difficult to beat at the old Lansdowne Road, now the Aviva Stadium. Scotland have been very interesting, very enterprising over the last 6 months or so, and they're looking to capitalise on the form of Finn Russell. Although Adam Hastings is playing particularly well at 10 as well. So we're looking forward to the first round of the Six Nations. I have Ian McCarthy with me from Haberdashers. And who do you think is going to win the Six Nations this year, sir?
The French are looking good, aren't they?
They are. A lot of very interesting young Englishmen, though. They must be in with a chance.
Yeah, the Irish are looking strong.
I noticed you haven't mentioned the Welsh there.
Well, you love that, Ralph. You love being the underdogs, and you just go and win it again.
It'd be very difficult to win this time. We have to go to Dublin for the first game. That would be tough. And of course, we have to go to Twickenham.
Yeah.
Never easy.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say we. I'm trying to be unbiased. The Welsh. And we're looking forward. We've got a trip going to Hungerford this year to watch Wales-England. The Welsh people are loath to go to Twickenham. They don't have many happy memories there.
Yeah.
So we're going to Hungerford to watch that. Hungerford Rugby Club. It's halfway between Wales and England from where we are.
Okay.
But I think we're going to watch the Scotland game, and we're definitely going to see the French game because we love being entertained by the French.
We went up by train and by car, isn't it?
That's it. Correct. In the words of Max Boyce.
Yeah.
The inimitable Max Boyce. So it's been a very enterprising first half, dominated by Haberdashers, who deserve their long lead. A host of penalties in their favour drove Thurrock deep into their own half, and the scrummage failed to function for long periods, especially when number 8 Ben Timpson was sent from the field with a yellow card. On his return, Ryan Wilkins, the hooker, hit upon a new strategy of striking very early and whisking the ball back. Sometimes it's too quick for Ben Timpson at number 8. Nevertheless, this was a good strategy, and Thurrock came back into the game with a late try, with Alex Jones throwing a dummy and sprinting under the posts. So at half time, it is Haberdashers 22, Thurrock 7. And so it's Dr. Rob Bamberger who's kicking off the second half for Haberdashers.
Take a step. Down, take a step.
So Thurrock will be looking to capitalise on this very strong wind and the slope in the second half. We have Dr. Anthony Pearson with me in the commentary box.
Yeah, it's going to be a case of try and keep the ball away from our
Terrific
first
break
phase.
from Caelan Watts-Adams. Sorry.
Oh, come on, God!
And this time it's a penalty of Thurrock as the ball is pulled back illegally. And I suspected the referee had given a warning to the team, but perhaps not. Yeah, it's given Thurrock an early advantage in the second half with Stone to kick for the corner.
Well, already Thurrock are looking better because they came out for that. They came out for the first half absolutely stone cold, and already they're looking a bit more up for it, which I hope so.
So Stone emulating Bamberger from the first half with that smashing kick into the corner. Good to see Cliff Stevens here, the father of Coach Dave Stevens this afternoon. So Watts-Adams having made that storming break that being the second half, takes the ball in the middle of the line-out. Thurrock are moving forward. Ben Timpson and Thurrock in concert, they've been dragged to ground. The referee has declared a maul and given the put-in to Haberdashers. The highly irritated Graham Morris, standing next to Roger White there, suspects the referee hasn't quite got that one right.
It's really noisy today. He says it's to keep order. Yes.
He's put a slow worm into the drink there and almost killed the poor slow worm. Slow worm almost drowned.
Characters!
Good drive, boys, good drive, keep it up, keep it up.
This is a slightly better scrum to begin with from Thurrock, but he's now starting to go backwards and pivots towards the right. And this time the referee suggests it is wheeled. Haberdashers are known for their free-flowing, enterprising rugby, but today they are intending to capitalise on their superiority in the scrum.
Which makes for a dour game.
According to the unbiased spectators, it leads to a dour game. So it's former Monmouth schoolboy George Clayton to put the ball into the scrum. Ian Anderson with the strike. Thurrock are sliding backwards, and I think there's going to be one outcome from that.
Look out, boys! Look out!
They are unable to keep that straight, and I apologise for any language you might have heard in commentary.
Not for me.
Thurrock are longing for the days when they had George Smith who could lock out a scrum. But that was 50 years ago.
We know Elvin Jones.
Good afternoon to Eddie Taylor, who's marooned in the Maldives with COVID. But at least he has the opportunity to watch the game. This time Haberdashers are driving straight, and now they've veered off to the side again. So it's taken 3 attempts to complete that scrum. Left winger Johnny Whittle tries to break clear. Haberdashers coach themselves and make a very good job of it. Clayton puts in the box kick. And there's no doubt that the wind has died down a little. Callum Pluck took that ball and went into touch before he threw the ball into play. So Haberdashers claim the line out. Right in front of the cameraman. The wind has taken its toll with that line out, wasn't straight. Because it wasn't straight, Thurrock have the opportunity to have the line out rather than the scrum.
Let's go, mate. Please come on.
Jay Jennings' lace has come undone, and so he's been given the time. Here sees the jumper.
2, 1, 1.
Gone to Phelan Watts-Adams, who takes that superbly. Henry Bird with a chance midfield, feeds Kai Holloway. He's pulled to ground. Makes Jones. And Watts-Adams kicks the ball, looking for the 50-22. I suppose a former fly half and a winger is entitled to kick the ball occasionally. Would have much preferred a 50-22 though. Two storming runs from Watts-Adams so far in this half and a couple of superb lineouts. This time Haberdashers take Johnny Gators. Good run by Simon Miller in the middle of the field. So it's Joey Gators in the middle of the field, not Simon Miller.
Good tackle. Put him back. Good tackle.
Henry Bird puts in a fine, strong tackle, as is his wont.
Easy, ref. Easy.
Now Thurrock captain Charlie Russo has been penalised. Dr. Rob Bamberger to kick the touch. Sounds like an American international. That's not gone to touch, it's kept in play. The ball came back to the rate of knots, and that was an unfortunate knock on. Just when it looks as if Thurrock had been let off the hook. Now, unlike Haberdashers, Thurrock have gone deep into the opposition half and failed to capitalise. It's now given Haberdashers a chance to escape from their own half and set an attacking platform of their own. In these conditions, you must really capitalise once you get into the red zone. So Tom Wildman was taken off fairly early in a tactical measure to try to cope with the difficult scrummaging conditions. That's left the restored Anthony Catchpole in at loose head. Solid scrummage this time, and so Haberdashers decide to feed the backs. Simon Miller and Joey Gators midfield. Some good tackling by Thurrock. It's reset the centre of the field. Johnny Gatiss, the older brother, held up in the middle of the field.
Come on, Red. Pulling him up to the red. You can't do that. Can we have a lay now?
So Maul has been called and Thurrock have won that ball, and they go to the dubious opportunity to have a scrum. So Anthony, let's see how this scrum goes.
I think it's all going to rest on body position again. Thurrock are looking, if we're going to go full yoga, can far too
I think Thurrock will try and win it through the eye of a needle. Try and thread it through the eye of a needle. We passed Elstree Studios on the way here today, and of course, you know, it was famous for the Carry On film, so we're hoping for not too many knock-ons today. So let's give Thurrock a chance to break clear. Ben Timpson, given a chance on the outside. Harry Reynolds has kicked ahead. It's very well collected by Adam Dye on the right wing. Dan Stone has found the ball in the middle of the field. It's given to Ben Timpson. There's Charlie Russo with a sidestepping run. This time ball's fed inside. It's knocked backwards, but Haberdashers have regained possession. No, Thurrock have the ball. It's come out to Dan Stone. He's looking outside. He's thrown the dummy himself, but he's tackled in the middle of the field. Bodies are thrown everywhere. Thurrock have picked the ball up. The referee was very quick there to award the turnover because Alex Jones, scrum half, had the ball in his hands and delivered the pass.
Hey, lucky boys, come on, come on.
Much better from Thurrock. Far more enterprising. Good kick ahead there from Harry Reynolds and brought Thurrock into the Haberdashers 22.
He's on, boys, he's on.
It did seem a very quick call. You sometimes see that. The attacking team don't have the opportunity to get the ball away quickly, and the referee is all too keen to give the penalty.
Come on, boys, keep the pressure.
The obvious antidote to that is don't run away from your support.
I think the issue with that, though, is when you have the opportunity for a break, you have to run away from the support because that's the very nature of it.
Because otherwise it wouldn't be a break.
Of course. This is better from Thurrock, nevertheless. The wind was always going to play a part in this game. Watts Adams snaffles that one. It's a huge pass to Lewis across the middle of the field. Ben Timpson. Thurrock throw the ball out. Henry Bird is held up in midfield. Watts Adams is starting to play some great rugby this evening. Frank Wright does love a rumble. Jones. Numbers out wide. Very difficult in this wind to get the ball out that far. Quick ball is required.
I thought they were going to get pinged there for going over the top.
Dan Stone to kick the ball into the corner for Thurrock.
He's not going to give it.
Yeah.
Dan Stone, of course, spent a lot of his time on the wing, but he is a fly-half, and he was very good fly-half at Campion School, where he played with Tom Saunders, who's on the bench today. Occasionally played with Finley Wood as well, Campion.
Whoa. Plenty of errors.
Very difficult to take that high ball in these conditions. The ball shot out then, straight back to Thurrock, but they have won the ball back. Now Clifford makes the hard yards. Ben Timpson. Always looking for opportunity. This time Dan Stone makes a break outside. Feeds Kai Holloway. Lots of support. Dan Stone can't quite hold on to the ball with the line to his mercy.
Come on, lads, keep at them, we don't like it.
So yet another penalty for Thurrock. It seems if there is a little bit of inconsistency.
It's just so frustrating from what we've said. Seeing what Thurrock can do with the ball in their hands. They spent the first 40 minutes with.
Can't quite deliver the coup de grace.
That's a pedant against the coup de grace.
We're Welsh, we did have a fine education. We had grammar schools in those days, but that would be political if I said that.
You're going to get picked up on a pedant. Sorry, picked up by pedant, might as well.
There's an injury there to a Haberdashers player. Can't quite see who is lying prostrate on the floor. I'm standing amongst a fiesta of former players today.
Fiesta.
They're thoroughly enjoying themselves. They've got,
Siesta.
it could be siesta, that would probably be a better way of describing them.
Especially with
We have Mike Dunk, the general manager, former second row, Graham Morris, the number 8, and Roger White, the
Groundsman.
the cricketer. Former groundsman. He's just been sacked by
Many times
Clive
been
Bynan. And we hope Clive is on the mend, having not been very well in the last few weeks. Won't be able to carry his duties. Again, a very difficult throw in these conditions. The ball flying towards the Haberdashers line in the line-out. The relieving kick is a very high one.
getting some a mere 10 metres.
One has to admire the Haberdashers' philosophy. They have no coach, they don't train as a collective, yet they produce a good brand of rugby every week.
Get out the boy!
They travel from all over London, all over Eastern England to play. It's a better kick. This time it's taken by Niall Clifford to come in full back, calls for the ball. Using his power and pace, he goes through the hard defence. Jay Jennings takes a quick ball, but he's slightly overrun it and knocked it on. That's given Haberdashers a chance to clear their lines. Harry Reynolds does well to take that. Kicks the ball in the middle of the field. The full back allows it to bounce. It just misses the tackle. But Thurrock still have possession.
No, spin it wide. Come on.
Ben Timpson on the hard sidestep manages to deliver the ball. Dan Stowe, Kai Holloway has come to Callum Pluck on the outside. He's got a chance. Kelfie's ball back inside. And the referee goes back to yet another penalty.
Naughty, naughty.
That was all made there by a fantastic kick and chase by Harry Reynolds. Didn't give the opposition anywhere to go on the clearance. Clearance got them off 10 metres. Absolutely, absolutely. Great kick, great chase.
And of course the fullback didn't feel the ball, allowed to bounce. Cardinal rule. Tom Wildman has come back on the field in the second row to replace Jay Jennings. And yes, ultimately that was going to be the case. the Haberdashers have been shown a yellow card. I think it was probably the 6th consecutive penalty. And the yellow card has been shown to Kieran O'Riordan, the Irish second row. So Tom Wildman's come back onto the field in his more familiar position of second row, unless Anthony Catchpole has gone to the second row. Thurrock have shortened the line out. Let's go on to Watts Adams to the back. It takes a difficult ball. They then pile into the rolling maul. Somebody has broken free. Just short of the line. And this time, the try has been given.
Oh, hello.
A little bit of argy-bargy announced by the whole crowd in true Bill McLaren style. So the try has been given to an unnamed warrior. You can't quite see who it is from that distance.
Good work, catch. Well done, Caleb.
Taylor Watts Adams did magnificently to rise like a salmon and take that line out.
From the kickoff.
And after those indiscretions, the captain has been spoken to.
Good work, Ryman. Keep it going, Franco.
A rather heated situation. So the Haberdashers reduced to 14 men. It's now Haberdashers 22, Thurrock 12.
But having said that, you know,
with the conversion to follow. There's always going to be a game of two halves, proverbially, in these conditions.
okay, but against Colchester, because we had mass COVID, we couldn't put out enough. So,
Jay Jennings had an excellent game again this week.
Oh, great.
That was a great conversion by Dan Stone. It's Haberdashers 22, Thurrock 14. Two converted tries. So Haberdashers still down to 14 men for a few more minutes. Thurrock have a chance to capitalise on this situation. And
Relax, Haberdashers.
Bamberger has taken quite a while to get the ball. Playing for time.
Go on now then.
The score at the moment is
22-14.
22 points 14. So Bamberger to kick off. Difficult ball to take, brilliantly taken by Caelan Watts Adams, who tries to chip ahead himself. Ball is rolling towards the line. It's dropped just short. Great play by Watts Adams. Can't quite make the tackle. So that's a difficult kick out there. So take a quick ball, but the referee doesn't allow that.
That's just
Watts
fabulous
Adams
work by
making
Caelan.
breaks, kicking the ball ahead. The man is having a wonderful game. Showing great leadership, line-out caller at the moment. Fulfilling so much of his early promise. Started his career as a fly half, a feisty fly half, then moved to the wing. Whilst at Campion School, did play in the second row and the back row occasionally, but has now become a fully fledged second row, back row player. Ball is slapped forward in the line out, giving Thurrock an opportunity for a scrum.
It's the time as a front row player where you have to stand up. You have to say, this is my, I have to do it now. Make a statement here, game could turn. But there has to be that belief, that self-confidence.
So Tom Wildman has moved the second row. We'll see if this makes any difference to the weight they're able to apply in the scrum.
Quick heel, boys!
I find about the place.
Well, the Alex Jones dummy and try at the end of the first half was really a bit of a turning point. If Thurrock can now capitalise on this opportunity, the game will be open.
Quick heel!
So Alex Jones to put in. Unfortunately, it's been hooked by Haberdashers. It's given Bamberger a chance to clear. Callum Pluck is under this one. He throws inside. Niall Clifford is hot in support. Catchpole drives forward. Alex Jones feeds Dan Stone. Russo and Timpson in concert, ever willing. Alex Jones tries a little grubber, but there is a knock on, and Thurrock will have a chance to put in the scrum.
We haven't managed to get our hands on the ball for it.
Argue the statement Thurrock made at the last scrum wasn't.
It was an interesting decision by Haberdashers, who had won the toss, to play with the wind in the first half. It seemed very much as if it was the right decision. They went into a very long early lead. Nevertheless, Thurrock have come back into this game in the second half. They've had a couple of opportunities to score and haven't quite taken all the opportunities at their disposal. But I must stress, it's very cold day and it's very difficult to catch the ball. Well, of course, they do have self-adhesive balls nowadays, much better than the old days of the Gilbert match leather balls, which changed as the season went on. It was wonderful to kick those Gilbert balls at Pontypool Park in September, but in February it was a completely different story. In fact, you didn't attempt to kick the ball there.
Yes. What was the stone ones like, Ralph?
We have a rather sardonic comment there from Dave Sardar, and completely unnecessary. Stick to the camera work, please, Mr. Sardar.
Absolutely, there's no place for comments like that.
Ben Timpson manages to pick up the base of the scrum and set up possession for Thurrock. Well picked up Alex Jones under pressure. Dan Stone goes for the loop around, feeds a pass out. Now Clifford has taken that one well. He stayed on his feet, tries to get the ball to Callum Pluck, but there is an attempted interception there, and it's a deliberate knock on, and the referee really needs a TMO to see if Thurrock should have a penalty try. Was there a defender beyond the winger? I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way in the world that's a penalty try.
That is hard. No, it was not.
Well, Thurrock had a scoring opportunity then, and I think Johnny Whittle was slightly unlucky, but nevertheless, I think the yellow card was inevitable once the scoring opportunity was there. Charlie Russo, the captain, has been thrown around, but he has managed to keep possession. He was cross, lost the ball in possession. But this time it'll be Thurrock who have the opportunity to exert a little bit of pressure in this scrummage. So temporarily, Haberdashers are down to 13 men. One will return in the next minute or so, probably at the next breakdown. Even now, Haberdashers managed to dominate the scrummage and get a penalty. To roars of approval from the pack. Their exhortations of their success are not appreciated by the referee. And once again, the two captains are called together. Charlie Russo and James Clark. I think we'd call that excessive rejoicing at the scrum. I should think from Thurrock's point of view, it's just as well that Haberdashers don't train as a unit. So Reardon is back onto the field and Haberdashers now only have one player in the bin. And very cleverly, in order to waste a bit more time, the ball is kicked into the front garden of number 22, Croxdale Road. It's run over by a passing car.
Yeah, that's a gap here.
So the ball disappearing onto Croxdale Road. We've got the spare ball. Ian Anderson to throw in. Even though it looked as if the liner wasn't straight, knock on, the first knock on was by Thurrock.
There he is.
I think that's Antoine Cornet who's come onto the field, Frenchman. George Clayton getting the timing right of the push. The 7 men still managed to push Thurrock back. And this is beginning to dominate proceedings. Yet another penalty for Haberdashers in the scrum. This time the referee plays advantage. As play is held up, the referee returns to the scrummage penalty.
Do you know what time the second yellow was? I think it was about 5 minutes ago now.
Bamberger pushes play up into the Thurrock half. A rare excursion to Thurrock's half.
We're moving up.
In the immortal words of Paul McCarthy, I'd have gone for distance there myself.
Brought about by the recurring damage at the scrums. Johnny Whittle coming in first receiver, the winger. Something has happened, the breakdown there has led to Tom Wildman being sent from the field. Alex Jones has come off the field to allow Tom Saunders make his debut. It's still working. Is this still working?
Yeah.
It's fallen out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Is that red? Is that red? So a yellow card for Tom Wildman. And Alex Jones, who's had a fine game, has come off, and Tom Saunders making his debut at scrum half.
Can't over there.
Tom Saunders to feed. But going for the quick heel. Of course, Ben Timpson manages to pick up. Thurrock have quick ball. They're trying to run for their own line with Kai Holloway. Trying to break clears, giving Harry Reynolds a chance. Harry Reynolds a chance on the outsides. Come hard in field. It's a good run from Harry Reynolds. They're still going forward. Now it's gone to ground. The Thurrock opportunity to try and win the quick ball, but for some reason the referee has suggested it's a scrummage. Must have been a knock-on.
No, he's saying that was a maul rather than a completed
It was a
tackle,
maul.
which is an interpretation.
Quite strange because the momentum was forward and he went to ground.
I'm not convinced I agree with that.
After a good revival, Thurrock have now slowed their progress, and it's all been down to the scrummage, I'm afraid. So with about 5 minutes left, it's Haberdashers 22, Thurrock 14. Outstanding performance last week against Shelford, Thurrock.
What is it?
17, got 30 seconds.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely bird, isn't it? Oh,
It was right.
that sort of way.
That's actually one-handed like that. I went to the fire.
You're getting worse.
It's a high-risk strategy. You get it. Yeah, but it don't. When we did let's go.
Haberdashers are driving Thurrock all the way up the field, they're marching them backwards. Now they've picked up, it's given Johnny Whittle a chance.
What play, George?
Haberdashers back up to 15.
And I think it's Tom Brogden has come onto the field. It almost looks as if Haberdashers have shown some leniency and gone for the kick to provide the liner draw on yet another scrum. Perhaps they're feeling sorry for the crowd. They've been subjected to an afternoon of scrummaging. But some people,
Ralph?
of course, would appreciate that. Some people thoroughly enjoy the scrums,
Oh yes.
but certainly not the Thurrock 8. Watts Adams tries to intercede in that line-out, doesn't quite get the ball. Haberdashers have possession, keeping the ball tight, which is unusual. Why wouldn't you when you have the advantage? Good strong ball to the middle of the field. Simon Miller, Joey Gators in concert. First real attack this half from Haberdashers. Looks like they've got the advantage on the outside. And this looks very much like Captain James Clark. Haberdashers 27, Thurrock 14, as we reach the dying embers of the game. Thurrock flattered deceived for quite a long period, with Haberdashers down to 13 men. Not able to capitalise once in the Haberdashers 22, and it's allowed Haberdashers to come back in the game and to actually score a try.
I don't blame him.
The spectators are keen to get the warmth of the fire in the changing rooms. It's an excellent attempt at conversion there by Rob Bamberger, but again sails wide. With that conversion missing, Thurrock have one last chance to try and score a convert try to gain a bonus point. It's tremendously well taken by Lewis Cross from Dan Stone's kickoff, and Thurrock do have possession. Tom Saunders delivers to Anthony Catchpole. Ball is knocked on. The last thing Thurrock needs is another scrum.
Yeah, that's just microcosmic of the afternoon, really. Good play, enterprise by Thurrock. Then bit of a mistake, and let's be honest, no chance of reclaiming it at the set hits.
Terribly frustrating for backs like Henry Bird, Niall Clifford, Dan Stone, who love running with the ball. They've not had too many opportunities this afternoon to do that. Often the case in the height of winter, of course. As a former back, it was always time to pack your bags and go on holiday when you got to January and February. Couldn't wait for the 7th season to start in about May. Get to Twickenham or something. Have some fun. Some big crowds. Play London Welsh or London Scottish. Halcyon days, indeed. Days of wine and roses. And that is the final whistle. And it's Haberdashers 27, Thurrock 14. We leave you from a very windy and cold Croxdale Road. Anthony Pease, what do you think of that game?
Frustrating. Thurrock showed enterprise with the ball, and it's all season long it's been the same thing of just lacking that final incisive edge. And if the ball does go to ground, which it will in conditions like this, just an inability at the scrum to provide anything approaching reliable ball. So, yeah, frustrating.
Next week, Thurrock travel to Southend to play against their oldest rivals, and that should be a very good day indeed, with a lunch provided by former Southend fly half Billy Adams. So we're looking forward to the trip to Warners Park next week, and hope you'll join us again for our next production of Thurrock Rugby Football Club. Good afternoon.
I remembered.
Bye everyone.